everyone, welcome back. This is Lindy from Love Create Celebrate, and this is my first video of 2021. I am super excited that my first video of the year is another Scraps Made Modern video. In this series, I take scrap wood from our shop, leftovers from previous projects, and I turn it into something fun and modern and new. If you have not subscribed to our channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future DIY and home renovation videos. Today, my friend Colleen Pasteur is joining me as a co-host. She and I are both going to be using scrap wood to organize spaces in our home. She is doing a couple of kitchen organization projects that you are not going to want to miss. And I know you're going to love her project, so make sure to check out her video at the end of this one. Today I am sitting in the secret place under the stairs. If you watched the video before the holidays, then you'll know that we already painted this space in this beautiful bluey green color. And today I was working on making a couple of scrap wood projects to help organize the secret place. So in a couple weeks, we're going to be doing a full makeover under here. There's a couple new features that are coming, and it's going to be just a great reading nook, cozy space for our kids. But I wanted to start by getting a couple little organization elements in here by building them some hooks and some shelves. If you guys have been around our channel, then you already know that my husband is a very talented woodworker. He has taught me a lot of his skills. I'm not as good as him, but I'm slowly learning, and these videos are kind of my chance to show off some of the skills that I've learned. Although I will admit that he had to help me come up with a jig to do my hook DIY. So thank you to him. Hopefully you guys like these projects. Okay, so the first thing we're going to attempt is to make the hooks that are going to hang on the side of the wall. I have these scrap dowel pieces from other projects that I'm going to use to make these. Essentially, it's going to be a board with some hooks of dowel hooks coming out of it. The tricky thing is keeping this stable in order to drill into it for the hooks. So in order to do that, we're going to use these scrap pieces of 2x4. I'll attach this to here so that it's stabilized on the 2x4s, and then we can drill for the hooks. First, I gotta put my hair up. So I've screwed these two 2x4s together. That's not part of the hanger, that's just for stability. And then I put a nail into the edges of these on a diagonal to hold the dowel in place. And you can see the nail holes are here, and my 16 inches that I need is right inside those nail holes. So I don't want to do anything inside of there that will mark up the actual piece, and I'll cut these nail holes off after. Next, I marked out where I wanted my hooks to sit, which I decided to put them 4 inches apart. So I marked it 2 inches, 6 inches, 10 inches, and 14 inches. So now I have to drill the holes that the dowel hooks are going to sit in. And so we're using a hole saw for that. If you haven't seen it, it's a saw bit that's really sharp, goes down in and takes the whole plug right out of your wood piece, which you'll see in a sec. This one is about the same diameter as the pieces we're using, so hopefully it's the right size. We're gonna try it. You can use this with a drill, but we're gonna use the drill press because it's a lot more stable, and we wanna like perfect 90 degrees if we can get it. So wish me luck. We clamped our stabilized dowel down on the drill press and then pulled the hole saw down so that it would cut about 1/3 of the way into the dowel. And then I did this at each one of the 4 locations I had previously marked on the dowel. Then I took the dowel off the 2x4s and cut the ends that I didn't need off, and now I was ready to make the 4 hooks. I maxed out the angle of my miter saw for the hooks, which was about 57 degrees, I think, and then I cut some off the edge and tested it against the dowel I had gotten ready to see if these hooks would work. Once I knew that the angle worked, I cut the dowels down to size, which I decided to do 5.5 inches for. Then I sanded everything down because it's much easier to do it now than after the hooks are attached. To attach the hooks, I started by drilling pilot holes right through all of the grooves I had made. Then I turned the dowel over and drilled through all of those holes again with a countersink drill bit so that I would be able to countersink the screw when I attached the hooks. Then I put the hooks in place inside of those grooves I had made and screwed them into place with the drill. I did have a measuring tool that I used to make sure that the distance of the hook sitting above the dowel was the same on every hook, and I measured that as I went after I had applied glue so that I could make slight adjustments if needed before I put the screws in. Okay, so I am ready to get started on my second scrap wood project. And this is the scrap wood I'm working with. So I have a bunch of this board, but I'm making a shelf. It's also gonna go in my kids' space, and we only have about 16 inches of width for it. So it's gonna be small, which is why I'm gonna try and do 2 of them. And just as a decorative feature, I'm gonna try to add some dowels. These are all the scrap ones in our collection, so I'm gonna weed through, but I'm thinking this guy will work. It's just under 1/2 inch. And if it doesn't, I've got lots of other options. So we'll just see how it goes. The boards I had for this project were 1x4s. I started by squaring off my board so I knew I was nice and straight on the end, and then I cut 4 14.5 inch boards because I only had 16 inches to work with, and I needed 2 for the bottom and 2 for the back. Then I lined up those boards and measured the sides so I could cut 2 pieces for the ends of each shelf. Now you can see the shelf coming together, but I had one more element to add. I wanted to put a dowel across that top corner so that the books could sit vertically and be held in place. To put the dowels in, I measured 1/2 inch away from each corner and then drilled a pilot hole and then drilled a hole with a drill bit that was the same size as the dowel I was using. Then I marked how deep that dowel went in, which was about 1/4 inch, and I added 1/4 inch on each side, so 1/2 inch to the total size of my dowel, and cut it down to size on the miter saw. So because my boards were 14.5 inches long, I ended up cutting the dowel at 15 inches, 14.5 plus 1/4 plus 1/4. Then I assembled everything with wood glue and a nail gun and let everything sit overnight to dry. All of these pieces are going to be sitting on the same wall, so I decided to stain them the same color, which is flagstone. I will link that in the description below. Then you can give each of your pieces a coat of stain, and after the stain is set, you can give them a couple coats of varnish. And here is how they both turned out in our little secret place. I am in love with both of these projects. I think they fit so perfectly into our secret space, and now I can't wait to finish the rest of this space under the stairs. To attach them, we just put plugs in the wall and then screwed right through the pieces, both through the hooks and the back of the shelves. You could put keyholes in the back, and that would kind of conceal all of the attachment as well if you wanted to. My kids didn't really need any convincing to start spending time in here. They loved the new shelves and the hooks. I hope you guys liked those projects. I'm really happy with how they turned out. I think the kids really like them too. They're super cute. They add some warmth to the space, and it really helps me with my direction for the rest of the DIYs in here. So hope you guys liked the video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you have suggestions for future DIY scrapwood projects, drop them below and let me know if you like the projects in the comments below. Thanks for watching. What do you think of the projects I made?
I like all the projects that my mommy made.